What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, back once again with the morning after the game before. This is the morning after the game before. West Ham 1, Freiburg. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. It's Freiburg 1, West Ham 0. I'm still in Freiburg at the moment. My flight's been cancelled, which is, a common theme across many West Ham fans today. Coming from Germany, got all these strikes, train strikes, plane strikes, all this stuff. So I've got to try and make my way down to Frankfurt tonight to stay there, which is not ideal after the last experience we had in Frankfurt. But let's talk about this game then. Last night's game, obviously disappointing result, obviously shrouded in controversy, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing in the fact that we're supposed to be a champion of Europe, and we're supposed to be a team capable of superior quality to other smaller teams in this competition. We've got some world-class players. There's no doubt about it. Listen, when you look at the two teams last night, and this is where David Moyes, he becomes a frustrating figure, and I think at the moment it's sink or swim for him in terms of there's he's going to need a level of support towards the end of the season. He's been questioned, quite rightly so, by a portion of the fan base. Listen, Moyes is always going to have his haters. He's always going to have the people that won't have him whatsoever. He's always going to have the people that won't defer from him. He's always going to have the people that, because of what he done for us last season. And listen, you cannot deny the man's contribution to this club. You can't. He had transformed this club into consistently, competing for honours, for something, whether it be in terms of qualification for the cups, actually winning the cup last year, and putting together a competitive team that have attracted some very good players. But his support is waning, and it's becoming tiresome, and it's becoming quite apparent that, no matter how many times we say this, no matter how many times he's warned, he will stick with his philosophy, which is fine. That's what he's entitled to do. But, a portion of the fan base, and it's becoming a larger portion by the day, are just not going to accept that. They're not just going to accept the way he approaches it, and will never agree that that is the best approach for a team of ours. I believe we're capable of much more. Listen, there's not. I don't think there's a football fan on this planet, a rational one anyway, that would deny that we've got a better side than Freiburg. I mean, Freiburg were, for all intents and purposes, were pretty poor last night. They were poor. I think they was a bit shocked with the lack of the lack of, what's the word? Determination. I don't think that's quite the word, but the lack of ability. No, that's not the word either. The lack of willingness, I think, is the word to get forward and attack. And I think they thought that they was going to get something a bit more. They would have seen the Brentford game, they would have seen the Everton game, which were two games. But you've got to admit, even in the Everton game, we're giving props, and quite rightly so. He allowed the team to carry on. It's always a game of thin margins with him. It's like a game of chess. It's like, he's too patient. He's too patient, and don't leave enough time for us to change the game in a positive way, or have enough confidence that some players can make an impact. He's very one-dimensional. He is very one-dimensional, and that is where listen, he's rode the wave a few times in his West Ham career, that's for sure, and he always seems to find a way to pull it out of the bag when it's needed. You know, you've heard it over the past few seasons. He's a game away. He's got the next 5 games, and all of a sudden, out of the bag will come a couple of performances. And I know he's a very respected figure around the club, and I know he's liked by the players. But there is an element that, you know, even with the performances this season, you know, we've heard from, you know, pundits and such, statistically, where our performances lie in terms of, you know, stats, which, you know, the game, I'm not one for stats, but, you know, our league position isn't honest in the way that, you know, it's very fine margins, and we've got the rub of the green. Even when you think back to the Brighton, you know, away win where we never win, you know, we had 3 chances that day and we scored 3 goals. On another day, we don't score them 3 goals and we end up drawing or losing the game. You know, Everton on Sunday, you know, although I was full of praise for the guy for letting you know, the team go forward, they're late goals. You know what I mean? Like, there's fine margins. You're riding a wave of good luck, and not displaying, you know, a confidence that you know you actually are in control. I don't ever feel like we're in control, and I think that's what happened last night. We set up the game, we go into the game, and he set up the same way he sets up normally, and that is to stop the other team from scoring. Even though we've said time and time again, even though it's blatantly obvious, even though the statistics will tell you defensively we're not as strong as we are in attack, but he sets up defensively. You know, it is like he wants to cover the faults before he plays to the strengths. And unfortunately for him, you know, this is last chance saloon, because people are growing tired and disagree, and they're quite entitled to do so. You know, whether you think it's right or not, but people are entitled to voice their opinion, and they're entitled to, you know, have an opinion on what is the future for this football club. Because I think we're getting to a point now where it could be the end of the road. This could be the end of the road. There could be no way back for him now, and that'll be a sad way to go out, to whimper out of a European competition where he's made his name, where he's garnered so much support from the, you know, and sometimes blind support from you know, and trust and gratefulness from a support group that, you know, have been starved to success and, you know, have tried so many things. And as I said, there's no denying that he's changed his football club for the better, but I think he's taken them to a point of, you know, it's a crossroads. You know, I think this could be the end of the road for him. I really do. If he doesn't, you know, if we whimper out this competition without a fight, approaching a game where, you know, so many people are very critical of the way he approaches games. You know, it doesn't show any confidence, doesn't show any guile, doesn't show any. It doesn't display any attributes that he can actually, you know, go out and suffocate a team like Freiburg. Listen, Freiburg come to the London Stadium. That was the worst team I've seen for a long time. You know, they're not a good side. They was poor last night. You know, look, he's got another chance. Absolutely, he's got another chance to you know, to rectify this. And I do think we will go through. But this is it for him. If he whimpers out of this, and, you know, the rub of the green isn't in the league where we don't get the points we can, without any type of UEFA football, with a poor display in this year's competition, by going out round of 16, but, you know, if it happens by a team that you know you really should be, you know, as a cup winner, and as a team that has the qualities in it that we do, you should be looking to suffocate these sort of teams and take control. And that, I think, that is where he's going to falter, because, as I say before, he's got to crossroads times before and he's always sort of like pulled it out the bag. But people are growing tired, you know, and people are becoming wise to the fact that, you know, even though he says the right things, And I think he's not done himself any favours recently either by addressing the criticism and sort of dismissing the concerns and laughing them off and sort of like being a bit brash in the terms of like, well, I'll win games. Because if you don't win games, you're opening yourself up to you're opening up a whole new can of worms, and you're opening yourself up to, to real, pressure. It's pressure. And I think if we win proud this competition, listen, I think we've built a good basis of a team, and listen, it's not perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination, and I think there's positions that we definitely could have strengthened. But I think there's a couple of players there that are, and will feel that their future will lie elsewhere because they are not getting their chance to show, their true qualities. People like Kudus, people like Paquetá, who I think will be off anyway. People like Bowen. I think they're gonna. There's not going to be a lot to, to tie them down, and not a lot of reason to sort of stick it out, which would be sad, and I think it'd be a waste. And I think if he's got another chance, I'm not trying to, to sort of, dismiss him before the fact. But I'm just saying this is my opinion, where he is at the moment and how he can sort of turn this around. It's only half time. I do think we'll go through. I think I've seen enough from us that shows me that a pretty poor Freiburg team at home, with the rub of the green, we can get past these. But going past this, I can't see us beating a Liverpool. I can't see us beating a Roma. I just can't see it. Approaching games like this, I think we'll be like shooting fish in a barrel to teams like that. Teams that I think will open us up with ease. And I think it could be quite embarrassing. But that's, it's got to get through this one first, which at the moment, we're not there. We're losing. We're losing at this particular moment in time. We're on our way out. And I think it'd be a shame in terms of to end his legacy like that, because he does deserve respect. I have got a special place in my heart for David Moyes, but there comes a time when you need to be able to let go, for me, of that nostalgia and that special feeling that you have. Of attachment for the good of the football club, because at the moment I can't see. I think he's doing what's best for David Moyes, and that's trying to get himself another contract. But he'll continue playing this way, and I think we're better than that. And I think it would undo a lot of good work if the worst comes to the worst. We've got to go and attack next week. We can't sit back. He needs to be more forward-thinking in his approach. Giving Antonio should have been 20 minutes before, because, he's so stubborn that it's like a game of chess, like a game of patience to him. He thinks he can wait it out and hope for, hope for the plan to work. And sometimes it don't. You need to change the energy. Ward-Prowse, he's not up to scratch at the minute. He's really struggling to get near the play. He's not being able to show his qualities because the team are so deep, and they're so concentrated on snuffing out and crowding out attacks by teams that you really should be getting on the front foot again. He's not a defensive player like that. He's not Declan Rice. Let's just put it that way. And he struggles to get into the game. Phillips, for all of his faults, gave more energy when he came on. It was a little bit more energetic. He could get near the ball, even if he ain't got the qualities of Ward-Prowse, which I think there was one time when he put in a lovely delivery from a free kick. So he's obviously shown in training that he can do that sort of thing. But he brought more energy into the midfield. Just getting near them. Getting near them and putting that press on higher up. Force him into mistakes. It was an unfortunate penalty incident. For all intents and purposes, when I watched it back, I can see why it wasn't given, but I have seen him given. But I think the problem is at the moment, I don't know what the fucking rules are. At the end of the day, he's got his arm up there and the ball's come up and hit him on the hand. It's diverted the type of play. Is it a penalty? I don't know, because when I look at it back, he already had his hand up in I wouldn't say a natural position, because I don't think that's ever natural. But there's no way he could have known that Souček was going to boot it at his hand, because it come down and then it went straight back up. I've seen him given. And VAR, the problem is I don't know the rules, but there was obviously enough in it that, the people in the VAR room must not know the rules either, because there was enough. There was a 4-minute, I'll upload the video, a 4-minute check of the VAR where we had to go and see the screen. Listen, the referee's got the discretion to stick with his decision and think it's the right decision. I think it may be the right decision, but who knows? Because I don't know what the rules are. Is it one of them ones where it hits your hand regardless it's a penalty? I don't know, and obviously the people in the VAR room don't know either. But back to David Moyes just quickly. Look, I think that would have been a fair result. I would say so. A draw, 0-0 draw would have been probably fair. But we cannot keep on relying on these these moments of good fortune, because your fortune favours the brave, and we're not brave. But there we go, sink or swim. I think that the whole club is at a crossroads at the minute, and the next game in Europe anyway is going to be the one that forges the future of this club, for better or for worse. But there we go. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Am I just talking a load of nonsense? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Let me know why you don't agree with me if you don't. It's always good to read other opinions. Maybe you can shed some light to some of us that can't see the wood through the trees. But there we go. I'll be back again tonight for Friday Night Party. I've got the equipment with me. As I say, I'm going to be travelling down to Frankfurt momentarily, trying to get some trains down there, trying to find a way down there. Don't know, it's a little bit up in the air at the minute, but that's the charm of following West Ham. But thank you very much. One thing left to say from me before Burnley. Come on, you irons.